It was an old-school Giants victory. The ball movement was back to its almost best.
It was, Damo, and it's a tough place to play, but they play this ground so well. It's a skinny ground, and they didn't get caught on the wings or the boundaries, so they decided, we're going to take you on, Geelong. We're going to challenge your defence. No Jack Henry, no Tom Stewart. We think you're vulnerable down there, and they took them on. This ball movement allowed for Jesse Hogan to get time, space, and they got it out the back with bits of play like this where they're all at sea because of that ball movement further down the ground. So Tom Green, what a game he played, Damo.
He had one of his best games of the year, as Finn Callaghan did as well. Now, they've both had good seasons, but I think they lifted their games to the next level yesterday. And you're right, the man on the end of that sequence of events there was the man who ultimately won that game. His name's Jesse Hogan, and there he is there lining up for one of his 7 goals. We'll take a focus on him in a moment. But you mentioned, Lordo, the lack of personnel at the Cats. You mentioned Henry, you mentioned Stewart. They also were without Lawson Humphreys. They were without Kolajasny, and people can have their views about Kolajasny, but when he's fit and ready, he does play under Chris Scott. They're also without Reece Stanley, and I raise that because Mark Blitzarves then had to ruck, and it left them exposed down back. And Sam De Koning, while he's a premiership player in 2022, Lordo, he does need better players around him, and he was exposed yesterday, as was O'Sullivan.
Yeah, but the Giants will say they had injuries too, so they've got a number of class players out, and Daniels and Kelly, and Stringer does a hamstring halfway through the game. So well done, Jesse Hogan, 22 disposals. He's just a running machine, 9 marks, 7 goals. He's the best forward in the comp, and he reminded everyone yesterday.
It is a reminder because he is the All-Australian and the Coleman medalist of last year. Missed 3 matches this year, but has now kicked 25 goals from the 6 games.
That's right, and I think he's had some misses this year in terms of games, and he's up and about. I'm pleased for the Giants because they are a team that I want to play in September because they're good enough to be there, but for whatever reason, they've just been off this year.
Now, with all of that, and there were excuses for the Cats, they nearly pulled the victory off, Lordo, and it was their own mistakes in the game that actually led to that happening.
Yeah, we want to take a look at some un-Geelong-like. So first of all is Dangerfield. So well done to intercept, but they're a point up. This would have been 7 up.
Go for goal?
Oh, no, just hit your target, and then he overruns the ball. So not like Dangerfield to overrun. Finn Callaghan was unbelievable. You just saw him get involved with the handball. But Geelong, they shouldn't let him out of this. But don't get mesmerised by the ball. Mitch Duncan been around long enough. Misses that tackle. Brad Close has to keep him corridor. At boundary side, he gets around into the corridor there, and then they're out. And then they're out. But this is poor by Jeremy Cameron. This is a kid playing his first game of football, and that's just a soft, weak effort from Jeremy. He had to hold him in, and then next minute it goes down.
And De Koning has a moment here too. Right? He needs to spike that, doesn't he?
Yeah, in through the points, and then not sure what he's doing. Guthrie, he just tracks Toby Green. Doesn't actually go at the tackler, at the player with the ball. And then Mark Blitzarves. That's one you should be kicking.
He has to kick that. I know there's fatigue at that stage, but he has to kick that. And then I'm not sure what Close was doing with this option there. Sorry, Myers.
Maybe that's what danger attracts, where the champion players attract the ball, but that had to go to the top of the square. So made so many mistakes, missed heaps of set shots. Giants get the win. They jumped them early, but that's one that they'll rue because they're losing a few games now, the Cats.